Welcome everybody to short review of this cheap e-scooter. Pretty good model. We are now located in a beautiful Croatia on the island called Brač, and I've been riding this e-bike entire summer, up and down, up to the hills, very steep hills, to the beach, to the near towns, almost everywhere. I made over 200 miles on it, and I think that I tested it pretty good. This is a very affordable version. I paid only 660 US dollar with delivery charges and with the custom duties, everything. That was the total price with this bike, delivered from China all the way to the beautiful Croatia. Delivery was something like maybe 2, maybe 3 months. You know, it was the cheap delivery. So if you plan to buy it and if you're on the budget, this will be the good choice, but you have to buy 2-3 months ahead of the time when you plan to use it, so that it can be cheaply delivered to your home. This is not the sexiest e-scooter, but it's definitely cheap and extremely powerful. So if you're looking for something that can climb toughest hills, that can go up to 70 kilometers, which is approximately 40 miles per hour, and of course the range depends on the size of the battery, then think about it. 660 bucks. This is the scooter, and now we'll go through the many features, but I'll think that I'll move from this position. The sun is too bright, so we'll go probably in my garage, which is ugly, but we'll have some peace to make the review. So here we are. Now we can really start the review. I have to warn you, this will be the most crude review that you ever saw on the YouTube, but I'm on my vacation and I really have zero interest or energy to provide you with some highly produced review. So this will be crude, almost like this e-scooter. So let's start, for example, with suspension. First you have these two here, and then you have this one here. This one is probably adjustable. I heard that the back one is adjustable, that the front one is adjustable as well. I have no idea. I'm on vacation. I had zero interest in, you know, playing with it. I simply just charged it and rode it, and that was good enough for me. I can tell you that it's kinda not bad. Not as good as the Mantis e-scooters, that I can tell you that much, but it's okay. And I rode this thing with my wife on it, so both of us on it, and it went well. So you can be alone on it, all the two persons can be on it, and it will work well. Now something about the construction. Construction is, of course, you can see it yourself, kinda, maybe I could say something like a first generation. It's outdated. The new e-scooters have much nicer design, you know, with the hydraulic shocks right here at the front. This is kind of old, but that's also reflects in a price, you know, 660 US dollars. What can you expect? You know, you cannot pay that small price and expect that you have value and the quality of a $2,000 e-scooter or $3,000 e-scooter. So it's pretty crude design, but it works well. You know, with this clutch, you remove this thing here, and then with this thing you can just simply fold it down, so it's easier to transport. And once when you fold it up and you put this brake right here so that it's secured, it's pretty solid, and it stays that way, pretty solid, no vibration or anything like that. And on the back you have this thing here. You can put your weight of your body right here. You can step on it and it will hold your weight, no problem whatsoever. And that's great because it gives you a little bit more of the length of the e-scooter, which is always important when you try to balance the weight of your body while you're riding it. So that's kind of good. And also you can use that to kind of lock your scooter to something, and it will work fine. Size and weight. You could see this scooter is definitely big enough to take the two riders. For example, me and my wife. Of course, my wife is much smaller than me, and we can fit on it. And when it comes down to the only one rider, no problem whatsoever. I often wish that it's a little bit longer, because this thing kicks as like a mule, so you know, more space would be better, but it's big enough for one rider and even for two when you know, do some slow riding. I of course put this you know, 3M reflective stripes right here and one right here. I don't know, is that smart or dumb, doesn't matter, it's right here and it will be good enough. Now let's say a little bit about the power of the scooter. I personally think that this scooter has almost too much power. 1200 watts in the first front wheel, and then the 1200 watts in the second wheel. That's total of 2400 amperes watts, and it's too much of the power. Really, with this thing you can go up to any hill. Nothing is too steep for it. Doesn't matter how high that climb is, it will simply chew any climb or any macadam road, so any dirt road. So it has even too much power, and the problem is actually in distribution of the power, because this thing, if you ride it with the both wheels on, with the both front and back motor on, it's too powerful to start. And when you're starting your ride, it will simply speed like a bullet, and it will try to, you know, kind of like a kick you off of the scooter. So I figure out that it's much more pleasant to ride it this way. First, you give the contact right here. Here it is, and then you turn it on. And then with this button right here, you can regulate. Do you want both front and back wheel to be on, both electrical motors to be on, or only one? So when I start, I always start with the only rear motor on, and that kind of provides you the soft start. You can nicely, easily start. And then when you want to reach the higher speeds, or when you have to climb up, then I simply just press this button with my thumb. I turn on the front wheel engine, or electrical motor, I'm sorry, and then this thing simply speeds up like a bullet, and also it can climb any hill, doesn't matter how steep the climb is. And then later, when I'm back on a flat ground, you know, and if I don't have to go very fast, then I always turn off the front wheel, because that way this thing is kind of pleasant. Otherwise, if you have a two motors, front and the back, on constantly, it's really unpleasant to ride it, because it kicks you off from the scooter. It's too powerful, speeds up too fast, and it does not have that nice soft speeding up of, let me say, Mantis e-scooters that I rode as well. They are always, you know, starting and speeding up very slowly, so you don't lose your balance on a scooter. This thing, if you have two motors on, it will simply try to kick you off like a mule every single time. That's why, like I said, I start the ride with only rear motor on, and then later I can turn on the front wheel. And that's the way how you can actually enjoy the ride on this scooter. Otherwise, it's not pleasant at all. And that's a very important thing, because you know, you want to enjoy the ride, not all every time to try to just survive on the e-scooter. Now, let's say a little bit about the controls. You know, first thing, you know, you have horn. It's not loud enough. It's kind of almost a gimmick, you know. It works well, for example, if you're in some kind of a quiet environment on the side road, side street or something like that. This thing actually works well. You turn on the light, and the front light, it's not bad, but I don't know why they didn't put, you know, proper LED light right here to kind of lit the road completely. This is not good enough. I mean, it's good enough for, you know, joking around your neighborhood around that street, but if you want to join the serious traffic on the road, then you really have to mount something like this, you know. This is from Olight, phenomenal product. You can use it as a front light, which is extremely powerful. Especially the high beam mode is phenomenally powerful and lights every road in front of you, 50, almost up to 100 meters. You turn the night into the day, and that's why I mounted it here. Plus it's super easy to just simply remove it when you need it, so that's great. And also when you turn your lights on, you will have one light right here lit on and the other light lit on right here, and then you have the brake light. This is the one. This is something that I mounted on. It's very crude, as you can see, and you can, you know, buy it on eBay for like $7-8, and then you can choose a couple of different, you know, flashes or light, and that will give you tremendous visibility, you know, during your night rides. I like this mode as well. It's extremely bright in the night conditions, and I'm kind of always using that to add the visibility, because you don't want to be hit by the car behind you. You want to simply be visible. And then let's move on. Here you have the key for it, LCD display that displays the voltage of your battery, and this console right here. Let me turn it on because it automatically turns off after a minute or two if you don't use it. And more or less that's it. I also installed right here, this is the helmet holder and lock. You can lock your helmet when you go to the store, and that's pretty much it all. So let's now do the quick test, day test, which is also important, of the front light, you know, it's right there. And then of course the rear stop light. It's pretty bright even in a day condition, and during the night it's bright enough. So when it comes down to these basic traffic, these lights for night rides that will make you be visible into the night rides on the road, it's a good thing, not bad at all. But put the flashlight on, it will help you tremendously with visibility. Let me say something about the brakes, and we'll leave the power at the end. You know, the brakes are not bad. Of course, you can move them up and down, left and right. All of that are highly adjustable, and they are disc brakes. So you will have the rear disc brake, and let me see, the front disc brake. And they're probably not the best in the world, but good enough. And of course you'll have to play with them, adjust them a little bit, because setting, original factory setting, is kind of soft, which is maybe not a bad thing. You don't want to have a brakes that stops you in an inch, you know, because you're gonna fly over the e-bike. So these brakes, great, perfect, I love them, good enough for this price. Now let's say a little bit about the range. You know, range depends. I took this scooter with a 24 ampere battery, and if I do something up to 30-40 kilometer per hour rides, you know, so that's kind of like in the middle of the, you know, maximum speed of this scooter, then I can get probably 40 kilometers, you know. If you want to ride it on a full power with a maximum speed of almost 70 kilometers, then of course you're going to deplete your battery much sooner. But you know, the normal ride on the side streets and things like that, you can get 40 kilometers. This test was performed with a brand new scooter with a brand new battery, so I really have no idea how the battery will perform after a year or maybe 2 years of use, when you already recharge your battery for a couple of hundreds of times. So please take that in consideration. Maybe it has, I don't know, but the range is not bad if you don't push it too hard. But if you want to push it too hard, maximum speed is kind of around 70 kilometers. And I was, you know, setting up maximum speed to be 60 kilometers. I feel pretty comfortable riding it up to 50 kilometers, depending on the road. Here on the island, all the roads are very curly, a lot of turning left and right, and also the asphalt on the road is in a pretty bad condition, so you don't want to push it too hard. You don't want to ruin your holidays and turn it into the hospital recovery, you know. So if you have nice roads, then you can push it up to 70 kilometers, which is around 40 miles. And if you don't, you know, set it up to go a little bit slower. Who cares? You are here to enjoy the ride, not to, you know, break the world speed record. Also, one important thing for the comfortable riding of these scooters is this 3 speeds. If you see this number 1, that's kind of like a first speed. And it's always best to use it when you're starting your ride, because then the start will be the softest possible start, most comfortable start. And then while you're riding with your thumb, it's really not a problem to click this blue button, M button, and turn it into the second speed. And if you want to go super fast or up to the highest and most steepest hill, then you turn it into the number 3. That's a third speed. And that way your scooter will fly like a wind. I don't think that this is the pleasant way to enjoy your rides when you're starting your ride. So I'm always starting my ride in the first gear, and then if I need it, I upgrade it quickly into the second and the third gear. So this is the control unit of this scooter, and it's probably one of the most primitive of all of them. They all look more or less like this, but something about the electronics and the software in it is different on every one of those. And this one is very primitive. Only thing basically you can do right now is switch from a speed 3, 1, 2, 3 back to 1. And then if you press it down there, you will see this is the total mileage. And then you can get the voltage of your, this is some kind of NJAX console. Right now is in kilometers per hour. And then if you press those two together, you can get into some kind of a program mode where you can limit the maximum speed for each of those speeds, So for example, my speed number 2 is 35 kilometers per hour. It can go all the way to the 70 kilometers per hour. And this is more or less everything, So it's not very programmable. You can't do much, just switch from speed 1 to 2 to 3, and then you can set up how fast you want each of those speeds to be. And that's pretty great. I limited the third speed to 60 kilometers per hour. That's too fast for me, and that's all about that console control. Now let's say a couple of things about the problems about this scooter. Here is the handlebar, and this handlebar can be folded, right here you have to push this cylinder up to here, and then it folds down. The same thing here, you push it right here, and then it folds down, it becomes more compact. And that thing kind of from time to time you can feel a little knobble right here, but when you open them and fold them, there is a screw right here. You tight it up, and then when you push it back up again, it will become very sturdy, and that's kind of not bad at all. You adjust them here and there, and that's it. I don't think that this design of the handlebar is smart. They should make something better, but it is what it is, and that's really not so bad. You just have to kind of tidy it up here and there at least once a week, and it will be fine. This thing right here down there, after 3 or 4 weeks I start feeling a little knobble right there, and there is also something to adjust it right there, but it's end of my vacation and I don't have a time to research it online right now how to do that. There is one screw out there that you also have to tie it in to kind of eliminate that wobble. What else? I don't know, maybe the suspension, if you don't plan to ride 2-person, maybe the suspension could be adjusted a little bit by, turning this thing right here. Maybe the front suspension can also be adjusted to become a little bit softer. I'm sure about that, but I don't even research that. Everything else, here and there you have to do basic maintenance of, screwing in and tightening up these, screws. And right here as well, that's a basic maintaining thing. The positive thing is that your handlebar, can go up and down. You can adjust it pretty nicely, and you also have this thing. It can go all the way on the top hole, in the mid hole, on the lowest hole. So depending on your height, this can be highly adjusted, and that's great. Basically, the most unpleasant thing about this scooter is that it launches too fast. It starts too fast and it wants to kick you off of the scooter, and that's why you always have to start with rear wheel only in the first gear, and that will provide like a soft, nice, pleasant start.
Once when you know, figure that out, this ride on this scooter will be very pleasant. It's really, really, really very fast. Of course, not the fastest thing, but if you can push it up to 70 kilometers per hour, uh, what more do you want? I mean, that's really, if you fell down from the scooter at that speed, you will definitely get hurt really bad. So wear your helmet all the time. Everything else more or less is a simple and okay. Building quality, it's quite okay actually for $660 scooter. I would like this thing to be more programmable, but it's not. Doesn't matter. You program the speed 1, speed 2, and speed 3, and that way you can, you know, kind of adjust it toward your riding style. Everything else is great. I mean, it's not the sexiest scooter. It's not the coolest possible design. It's not the Ducati type of design or BMW or anything else. But if you don't want to pay 1,500, 2 grand, 3 grand, if you want something affordable on affordable side, this is really not bad. 660 bucks delivered to my door to Croatia with all the kind of little you know, gimmicks, all the gears. Nice 11-inch wheels, which are really, really great, not only for the asphalt roads but also for, you know, a little bit off-roading. And look at the tires, kind of serious tires. Dual disc brakes, I mean, one at front, one at the back wheel. So am I satisfied with this $660 scooter? Absolutely. For that kind of money, I'm more than satisfied. I would like the, you know, the range of the battery could be a little bit better. I didn't want to take 17 or 21 amperes. I took 24. Not super happy about the battery, to be honest. Maybe I should take even the larger capacity battery. So my advice would be, if you're buying from this Alibaba guys, always try to take for a little bit more money the Samsung battery. This is the Chinese battery, so maybe you can now laugh at me, but it is what it is. And if you're choosing to take different sizes or capacity of the battery, always get the biggest one. I took 24, and maybe I should take even the larger capacity battery. I would probably be happier than I am right now. You can mount this kind of little thing. And also for the end, yes, when you're going shopping, you know, and you have to leave your scooter out there, this scooter does not have a lot of places where you can kind of tie it to the pole or to some kind of a parking structure. So you can do that around these holes, they will work well. Around these holes, they will work well. You know, all of this is kind of not bad. You can also do something around here. But what I do, I slightly turn the front wheel, and now I have a more space right here, and I put the U-lock around this thing, and it works perfect. You can really U-lock it on any you know, parking structure, any pole right there, to any fence or something like that. So U-locking around this thing works really well, and that's what I constantly doing when I'm going shopping. You know, I simply U-lock it to something, and it's incredibly well fixed and safe from any kind of theft. So $660 delivered to your home. Alibaba scooters, 1,200 watts at the first wheel and in the rear wheel. Great little scooter on the budget. If you don't have $2,000, $3,000 to spend, this will work really, really well for you. I'm apologize that this video is not sexier, that we don't have a better production. There is no stupid heavy metal music or some pop music, you know, who cares? I try to provide maximum information for you guys. Look at these fenders, you can ride it in the rain. It's a nice little scooter. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that I was not too detailed on this review.